The House of Windsor is a fortress built on centuries of tradition, duty, and an almost pathological need for self-preservation. But in recent years, that fortress has been under siege, not from external enemies, but from within. And at the heart of this internal conflict sits Meghan Markle, the American actress who dared to marry a prince and then even more audaciously dared to question the very foundations of the monarchy. The fairy tale began as fairy tales often do, with a dazzling wedding, a global spectacle of pomp and circumstance. Prince Harry, the charming rogue, had found his princess, a biracial, outspoken woman who seemed poised to breathe fresh air into the sometimes stuffy corridors of Buckingham Palace. The world watched with bated breath, hoping for a modern royal romance, a bridge between tradition and progress. But the dream soured quickly. Whispers of discontent turned into a roar as Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, announced their decision to step back from their royal duties. Megxit, as the tabloids gleefully dubbed it, sent shockwaves through the monarchy and the world. Accusations of racism, bullying, and a toxic environment within the palace walls surfaced, painting a grim picture of life behind the gilded gates. Harry and Meghan fled to California seeking financial independence and a life free from the constraints of royal life. But their departure didn't end the drama, it merely relocated it to the other side of the Atlantic. Now, years later, the fallout continues. The royal family, seemingly determined to protect its image and its future, is reportedly tightening the rules, drawing lines in the sand, and quietly but firmly pushing Harry and Meghan further and further away. And at the center of this escalating conflict are Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet, the young royals who find themselves caught in the crossfire of a family feud that threatens to rewrite the very rules of succession. The latest salvo in this ongoing war comes in the form of whispers from within the palace, suggesting that King Charles is considering tweaking the line of succession, potentially sidelining Archie and Lilibet. The rationale? A new eligibility update stating that any child in the line of succession must be raised full-time in the United Kingdom under direct royal oversight, a rule that conveniently excludes the Sussex children who have lived in California since birth. Is this a genuine attempt to modernize the monarchy? To ensure that future heirs are fully immersed in British life and tradition? Or is it a calculated move to punish Harry and Meghan for their perceived transgressions, to send a clear message that those who defy the crown will face the consequences? The timing is certainly suspicious, landing as it does after years of explosive interviews, a tell-all memoir, and a Netflix docuseries that aired the royal family's dirty laundry for the world to see. And the plot thickens. Just as Harry and Meghan find themselves seemingly frozen out of the royal family's plans, they are also conspicuously absent from the guest list for the upcoming royal tour of the United States in 2025, a major celebration of America's 250th birthday. Every other senior royal will be there, shaking hands, smiling for the cameras, and strengthening ties between the two nations. But Harry and Meghan, the only royals who actually live in America, are nowhere to be seen. The message is clear. They are no longer welcome. The question now is, what will Meghan do? She's never been one to back down from a fight, and reports suggest she's already lawyering up, preparing for a potential legal battle to protect her children's rights and her own titles. But taking on the monarchy is a daunting task, a David versus Goliath struggle that could have far-reaching consequences. And Harry, caught between his loyalty to his family and his devotion to his wife, faces an impossible choice. Whose side will he ultimately choose? The stage is set for a royal showdown, a battle for the very soul of the monarchy. The irony, of course, is that Meghan's quest for independence has seemingly led her right back to where she started. Fighting for a place, fighting for the spotlight, fighting to be seen. The woman who once declared that Sussex was her family name, a name she shared with her children, now finds herself clinging to the Duchess of Sussex title as if it were a life raft. The problem, as many see it, is that Meghan wants the benefits of royalty without any of the responsibility. She wants the prestige, the access, the global platform, but she refuses to play by the rules. And the royal family, a notoriously inflexible institution, is not about to let her have it both ways. Her post-royal career has been, to put it mildly, a mixed bag, The Netflix series, while generating plenty of buzz, also provided ample ammunition for her critics. The Spotify podcast fizzled out, leaving many wondering if Meghan's star power was fading, and her attempts to rebrand herself as a lifestyle guru have been met with ridicule, with the Jamfluencer label becoming a viral punchline. Even her carefully curated magazine appearances have backfired. The Harper's Bazaar cover, intended to showcase her as a sophisticated and powerful woman, was widely mocked for its heavy photoshopping and lack of authenticity. It seemed that no matter what she did, Meghan couldn't shake the perception that she was trying too hard, that she was putting on a show. And then there's the matter of the royal titles. Despite stepping back from royal duties, Meghan continues to use her Duchess of Sussex title in her American projects, a move that strikes many as opportunistic and hypocritical. After all, she and Harry claim they wanted to escape the constraints of royal life, but they seem unwilling to let go of the perks. The constant references to her royal status only serve to reinforce the narrative that Meghan is desperate for attention, that she needs the validation of the crown to feel relevant. And this in turn fuels the resentment of the British public, many of whom believe that she has disrespected the monarchy and exploited her royal connections for personal gain. The situation is further complicated by Harry's predicament. He's torn between his loyalty to his wife and his love for his family, a conflict that has left him increasingly isolated and withdrawn. He defends Meghan at every turn, but his words often ring hollow, as if he's trying to convince himself as much as anyone else. And as the rift between Harry and the royal family widens, the prospect of a reconciliation seems increasingly remote. The hope that he could one day bring Meghan and the children back into his world to share his homeland with them is fading fast. The walls are closing in, and Harry finds himself trapped in a no-win situation, a prisoner of his own choices. The question now is, how far will this go? Will Meghan launch a legal challenge to protect her children's titles? Will Harry be forced to choose between his wife and his family? And will the monarchy emerge from this crisis stronger or irrevocably damaged? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The House of Windsor is facing its greatest challenge in a generation, and the outcome will shape the future of the monarchy for decades to come. The palace, it seems, is playing a game of chess, while Meghan is playing checkers. Her moves are bold, brash, and often impulsive, but they lack the strategic depth needed to outmaneuver an institution that has been honing its skills for centuries. She sees slights where others see tradition, conspiracies where others see protocol. Her world is one of personal affronts and perceived injustices, while the monarchy operates on a far grander scale, concerned with the long-term stability of the crown. And that stability, it seems, is now paramount. King Charles, after decades of waiting in the wings, is finally taking charge, determined to streamline the monarchy and ensure its survival in an increasingly skeptical world. He's watched his siblings' scandals threaten to bring the whole edifice crashing down, and he's not about to let his son and daughter-in-law do the same. Hence the Clarity Review, that seemingly innocuous internal audit that has Meghan's team in a state of panic. It's not just about titles, it's about legitimacy. It's about ensuring that every detail of Meghan's connection to the crown is above board, that there are no skeletons in the closet, no hidden truths that could be used to undermine the monarchy. The questions being asked are pointed, the inquiries relentless. Did all the paperwork flow automatically after the births of Archie and Lilibet? Were the medical confirmations in order? Were there any irregularities that need to be addressed? It's a fishing expedition, and Meghan knows it. She spent years carefully crafting her narrative, controlling the flow of information, and presenting herself in the most favorable light. Now, the palace is threatening to expose the cracks in that facade, to reveal the truth behind the carefully constructed image. And the suggestion of voluntary confirmation, that discreet proposal to simply agree not to use the HRH title, was the ultimate insult. It was a test of Meghan's loyalty, a challenge to her authority, and she failed spectacularly. Her furious reaction only confirmed the palace's suspicions. She's not interested in compromise, she's interested in control. But Meghan's quest for control is ultimately self-defeating. The more she fights, the more she alienates herself from the royal family and the British public. The more she clings to her titles, the more they lose their meaning. She's trapped in a vicious cycle of her own making, desperately trying to maintain her relevance while simultaneously undermining the very institution that gave her that relevance in the first place. Meanwhile, Harry stands by, a shadow of his former self. He's torn between his love for Meghan and his loyalty to his family, a conflict that has drained him of his energy and his spirit. He tries to mediate to bridge the gap, but his efforts are futile. The chasm between Meghan and the monarchy is too wide, the wounds too deep. He sees the writing on the wall, the inevitable outcome of this escalating conflict. He knows that a lawsuit will only make things worse, that it will expose his family to even greater scrutiny and ridicule. But he's powerless to stop it. He's a passenger on Meghan's train, hurtling towards a destination he doesn't want to reach. And as the storm clouds gather, the question remains, what side will he ultimately choose? Will he stand with Meghan, defending her against what she sees as a relentless attack? Or will he finally recognize the damage she's doing to his family and his country and step away, even if it means losing her? The answer, when it finally comes, will determine not only his own fate, but the future of the monarchy itself. The fun uncle title bestowed upon Harry during happier times now seems like a cruel joke. The easy camaraderie he once shared with George, Charlotte, and Louis is a distant memory, replaced by a cold silence that stretches across the Atlantic. Another royal now fills that role, effortlessly stepping into the void left by Harry's departure. A stark reminder that life and the monarchy goes on, with or without him. Meghan, meanwhile, remains undeterred. Her team reportedly is combing through centuries-old acts of parliament, searching for loopholes for any legal precedent that might support her case. She's been told that the 1,701 Act of Settlement, the very foundation of the line of succession, could be her key to victory. But taking on the Act of Settlement is like trying to dismantle the Tower of London brick by brick. And the deeper she digs, the more ammunition she provides for her critics. Her past is being dissected, her motives questioned, her every move scrutinized. The narrative that she's a self-serving social climber, a fame-hungry actress who manipulated her way into the royal family, is gaining traction. The resurfacing of old interviews, the renewed focus on her pre-royal life, the relentless scrutiny of her business dealings, all paint a damning portrait. The carefully constructed image of a philanthropist and humanitarian is crumbling under the weight of public opinion. Even her supporters are starting to waver. The constant drama, the endless controversies, the unwavering sense of entitlement are wearing them down. They're tired of defending her, tired of making excuses, tired of the constant negativity that surrounds her. And the racism card, once her most potent weapon, is losing its effectiveness. The accusations of racism within the royal family, while undoubtedly valid, have become a shield, a way to deflect criticism and avoid accountability. But the public is growing weary of being labeled racist for simply questioning Meghan's motives or criticizing her behavior. The truth is, Meghan has overplayed her hand. She's underestimated the resilience of the monarchy, the deep-seated loyalty of the British public, and the power of tradition. She thought she could rewrite the rules, but she's discovered that the rules are written in stone. The palace is waiting, patiently, silently, for her to make a mistake. They know that time is on their side, that the longer this drags on, the more damage Meghan will inflict on herself. They're content to let her self-destruct, to watch her unravel under the pressure. And as the battle rages on, one thing is becoming increasingly clear: there are no winners in this war. The monarchy is tarnished, Harry is heartbroken, and Meghan is isolated and increasingly desperate. The fairy tale has become a tragedy. A cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition, the corrosive power of resentment, and the enduring strength of tradition. The question is no longer whether Meghan will win or lose, but how much damage she will inflict along the way, and whether, in the end, there will be anything left worth saving. The citizenship and residency clause, that seemingly innocuous addition to the royal rulebook, becomes a weapon. Insiders whisper that Charles wants future heirs to either hold dual UK citizenship or spend a significant chunk of their childhood in Britain. Harry, of course, never took US citizenship, a decision driven by the desire to retain his titles and avoid the complexities of US taxation. That choice, once a pragmatic one, now boxes him in. The palace, it seems, is building a wall, brick by careful brick, designed to keep Archie and Lilibet out. The security card is played next. Anyone in the line of succession, the palace declares, must be under official British protection. Another impossible hurdle for the Sussex children, who are raised in the relative freedom and security of California. It's a masterclass in passive aggression, a subtle but devastating campaign to marginalize Harry and Meghan's offspring. Each new rule, each carefully worded guideline feels like a personal affront, a deliberate attempt to erase Archie and Lilibet from the royal narrative. The slimmed-down monarchy, Charles's long-held vision for a more efficient and relevant institution, is now conveniently used as justification for cutting out two toddlers. It's not about modernizing the crown, critics cry. It's about settling scores. Meghan predictably is furious. She's reportedly contacted lawyers in both California and the UK, preparing for a legal showdown that could shake the monarchy to its foundations. The Radar Online report, citing a British-based tabloid veteran, paints a picture of Meghan in full panic mode. She's convinced that William, the future king, is coming for her Duchess title, that he's determined to strip her of the last vestige of her royal identity. Her defiance, however, is seen by many as delusional. She was warned before she married Harry what life as a royal would entail, but she ignored all the advice, convinced that she could do things her way. The prevailing narrative is that she never intended to stay, that she always planned to take the title, the connections, and return to California to build her own empire. But the monarchy is not a brand to be leveraged. It's an institution built on centuries of tradition and duty. Meghan's attempts to treat it as such have backfired spectacularly. The Clarity Review intensifies, the palace digging deeper into Meghan's past, scrutinizing every detail of her life before she met Harry. The births, the medical confirmations, the paperwork that should have flowed automatically but didn't. The goal isn't necessarily to remove titles, but to remove uncertainty, to expose any inconsistencies that could be used to undermine the monarchy's authority. And the bombshell rumor emerges: voluntary confirmation. The palace, through intermediaries, suggests that Meghan and Harry simply agreed not to use the HRH title. The reaction is volcanic. Meghan sees it as an insult, a malicious attempt to bait her, to expose her as a fraud. She believes she was in the trenches, bravely battling the forces of tradition and prejudice within the royal family. But to the public, she was living in a castle, enjoying a life of unimaginable privilege. Charles, meanwhile, is becoming increasingly resolute. He's done bending the rules to protect those who left the institution but still want to leverage it. His priority is the stability of the crown, not Harry's feelings or Meghan's reputation. The possibility of legally redefining what qualifies someone to use royal titles outside the UK is floated. It's a direct strike at Meghan's American brand, her carefully cultivated image as a duchess with access, influence, and impeccable taste. A duchess who can't actually use her title in any meaningful way is a devastating blow. Harry is caught in the crossfire, torn between his loyalty to his wife and his duty to his family. He's withdrawn, quieter than usual, realizing that Meghan's relentless pursuit of validation is pushing him closer to the brink. The lawsuit looms, a nuclear option that could obliterate what's left of the relationship between Harry and his family. The monarchy prepares to defend itself, not with polite statements, but with documentation, testimony, and official evidence. The doors will be thrown open, and everyone inside will be forced to speak.